What do you want your home to feel like? Not look like. What do you want it to feel like? And most women pause because nobody has ever asked them that question before. They've been asked what style they have, or maybe they've been asked what their budget is. Maybe they've been asked, hey, what is your inspiration and your Pinterest board? What do they look like? But that feeling question is important, but it oftentimes goes unmissed. And that is just as important as understanding what your aesthetic is. We grew up with the phrase, home is where the heart is, but our culture has shifted and now the message is, home should be Pinterest perfect. I'm calling BS on that message. Home, it's not about the stuff, it's about the story. And whether you know it or not, your home is a reflection of you and is already saying something. So what is it that you want it to say? Hey, I'm Danny, a former first grade teacher turned home decorator. Going from a dual income to a single income so I could stay home with my babies meant budget, like ramen eating, Goodwill shopping budget. And I learned a few things along the way, like how to bring big style to your home without breaking the bank. And I'm sharing it all with you. Tips, tricks, decor, and design advice so you can learn to tell your story with your style, where you can start living free from the Pinterest perfect trap and start living a life of intention. Welcome to Fig and Farm at Home, where we design happy living and where it doesn't have to be perfect to be beautiful. Well, it's happened. It's that time of year when we think that we are smack dab in the middle of summer, but everyone else around us, and I'm really talking about the stores, are thinking we need to be getting ready for fall. The school supplies start coming out at Target. You go into Hobby Lobby and you see all the pumpkins. And we've just started warming up around here. But I know that pretty soon the light is going to start shifting. The mornings are going to feel a little different. And then we're going to need that sweatshirt or that sweater earlier in the evening. The air will start whispering just a teeny tiny bit. And honestly, that is my very favorite part of the year. And for me, it also comes with a scent. But I'm in the Northwest. It is that scent of that warm pine needle scent, that warm pine cone, that forest air. It's coming. It's right around the corner. But it also makes me start thinking about what's going to happen in the home. When we start shifting our home space from a little bit more open and airy to a little bit more cozy, a little bit more warm, a little bit more cocoon-ish. You know that feeling, right? When the feeling of your space just feels a little more inviting, like a little bit more like a hug. And no, I'm not talking about fall decorating yet. We are not going there quite yet. But I do want you to think about that feeling space. Because here's the thing that happens every time I meet with a client. We start our conversations with that word, with that question. How do you want your space to feel? Before we start doing anything, before we start looking at paint colors or looking at furniture replacements, looking at area rugs, determining if we need to change the layout, we start with the feeling. Because here's what I've learned after years of teaching decorating. You can have a beautiful Pinterest board and it can be full of all the beautiful pictures and you can subscribe to all the magazines and have a pretty good idea of what your style might be, but it could still feel completely lost in your own home, not because you lack taste and not because you don't have a good eye, but because you've been collecting images without ever identifying the feeling that you want your home to feel. And once you know that feeling, once you know that you can name that feeling, and once you know you can name it specifically, everything changes. It is very much like when you know your design aesthetic. Everything changes. The shopping becomes a little bit easier. In fact, let me just rephrase that. It becomes a lot of bit easier. It becomes intentional. Decisions feel less overwhelming. Rooms start coming together in a way that feels like you because for the first time, they actually are. So I want you to do a little exercise with me. And if you're driving, you get to have full permission to keep your eyes open. But if you're not driving or walking the track, I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to think about a room that you've walked into at some point in your life, And it has to be a real room. It can't be on Instagram. It can't be from a show that you've watched. It can't be from a magazine. It has to be a real room that you've walked into at some point that made you exhale. Maybe it was a friend's home. Maybe it was a hotel lobby. Maybe it was your grandma's living room from when you were 8 years old. Maybe it was a restaurant that you just didn't want to leave. Wherever that was, I want you to picture that one space. Okay, you've got it? Okay. Now, I don't want you to think about what was in the room. Don't think about the couch, the table, the plants, the artwork. I want you to think about the feeling. How did it feel? And without sounding too woo-woo, I want you to think about what the energy was like. What did your body do when you walked into that space? That feeling has a name, and I want you to find what that name is. So here are some feeling words that you can think about. Maybe one of them fits. And this list is not exhaustive. Maybe it felt cozy, calm, layered, collected, warm, effortless, grounded, lived in, romantic, earthy, serene, curated, unhurried, safe, playful. And I could keep going. But did one of those words land for you? Did one pop up and grab you like, ooh, that was the word? And now I want you to think about the other two or two more. So I want you to have 3 feeling words. 3 feeling words that defined what you felt when you walked into that one room that you pictured. Those are going to be used as filters for decision making moving forward. This is going to be more important and more insightful than any design quiz you've ever taken. In fact, throw those all out the window. Because these feeling words are yours. This is your perspective in a space that made you feel a certain way. They don't belong to a box store. They don't belong to an algorithm. They don't belong to the Pinterest perfect board. They belong to you. And when you think about those 3 words, I want you to use them for filters for every decorating decision that you make. And if you've worked with me to understand your aesthetic, you're going to use those words as well. So now you have 2 filters helping you make strong, important, careful, calculated decisions moving forward so that you stop wasting money ultimately and you start having a space that really reflects you. That's what happens. Every purchase, every paint color, every pillow, every area rug, everything runs through that filter. Whether you are at Target, Pottery Barn, the thrift store down the street, all of it. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to walk you through what that looks like. So, for example, if my 3 words were cozy, grounded, and warm, I'm going to look at that pillow and I'm going to think, does this feel cozy? I might be looking at the textures. I might be looking at the colors. I might be looking at the pattern. Yeah, that feels really cozy. Awesome. Does it feel warm? Oh, yes, it does. Does it feel grounded? Amazing. And what does grounded, or what does any of those mean to you? You have to ask that. You have to define that. And that's it. That is the whole framework. And it sounds simple because guess what? It really, really is. But most women have never had that, which is why they keep buying things that don't work. So let's do a couple more. If your word was cozy, your feeling word was cozy, romantic, collected, you won't be buying the sleek modern sofa even though it's beautiful and it's on sale and it's kind of calling your name because it's so gorgeous. You won't be buying that because it doesn't pass the filter. Or maybe your feeling words are calm and effortless and serene. And when you find that really lovely fuchsia velvet sofa that looks really, really good on your Pinterest board, you're not going to buy that because that would create visual noise in a space that you want to feel calm and effortless and serene. And that fuchsia sofa is calling a lot of shots in that space. Or let's do one more. If your feeling words are charming and playful and lived in, maybe that's when you want the pink fuchsia sofa. You're not buying, if your words are charming and playful and lived in, you are not buying the all white linen bedding for your bedroom, because every single account that you follow on Instagram has it. Because white doesn't feel charming. White doesn't feel playful. Bright colors and pattern do. Funky artwork does. Do you see the difference? Do you see how different that is from saying, I'm looking for something transitional because the design style quiz said I'm transitional, but I still don't know what in the heck that means? The feeling words are going to give you a little bit of a compass for what those things mean and how to make those choices moving forward. Okay, so here's why I'm talking about all of the transitions into the warm, cozy feeling now before it's even midsummer, before fall even arrives, because I know that when fall arrives, that is the season that pulls at all of us. It honestly is, I think, the decorator's season. It's where we start really feeling those feels that make us want to have warm, cozier, inviting, and you name the other words, spaces. Where pretty soon you're going to start noticing, because I've just said it, you're going to start noticing the pumpkins, the plaids, the rust-colored everything, the pumpkin-smelling things and the pumpkin-flavored things. And by the way, I love pumpkin. I don't know where you land on are you team pumpkin or are you team not, but I love pumpkin. You're going to start seeing, if you're on Instagram or Pinterest, you're going to start seeing those home accounts start posting all their fall tours, all their fall cozy content, and suddenly buying things because I feel like fall could pop up for you. Not because I feel like what you desire your home to feel like, but because it's now kind of surrounding us in all areas. And then if that happens and October comes, you could have missed the mark again. Your home might feel a little bit more like a costume rather than the feeling you want it to feel. But your feeling word fixes that. So before you walk into a single store right now in anticipation of fall, before you click on a single, let me see all of those fall cozy pictures on Instagram, before you buy the fall throw blanket or the pumpkin candle, I want you to ask yourself, does this feel like my 3 words? Does it feel cozy, romantic, and collected? Does a plastic pumpkin pass that filter? Probably not. Does a vintage ceramic vessel with dried botanicals pass it? Yep, absolutely. If your feeling words are calm, effortless, and serene, when you get those inklings to have a porch that is stuffed full to the brim of 1,000 pumpkins and all the mums, will it feel that way? Even though it's so dang cute in all the pictures. Probably not. But maybe a single linen throw blanket in a warm oatmeal color and a couple little candles nearby, that might feel calm and effortless and serene. This is how the women I work with navigate choices. They use their feeling words, not because they want to spend more money, but because they want to have it on a better filter. They want to use a better filter to make better choices. So before we wrap up, I want to leave you with one thing. If this felt like an aha moment for you, something that you might have been missing in your decision making, in your confidence building, I want you to pay attention, because something is coming in the fall that I want you to be a part of. Now, I'm not going to share all the details yet, because that's what fun is that? But something is coming, and I've been sitting on it for a little while, and I'm finally ready to tell you next week. So if you're not subscribed to the podcast, do that. Subscribe so that you don't miss what the announcement is, so that you don't miss what's coming in the fall, so that you don't miss all of the exciting things that are on deck here at Fig and Farm at Home. And if you're not on my email list, if you're not a design bestie, that is where I share the news first. So go ahead and sign up at bit.ly/design bestie, BESTIE, or you can just do that at the link in the show notes. Because the people on my list are always the first to hear what's happening. They also get sneak peeks and before and after pictures of people in our community who are doing amazing things. So in the meantime, go and find your 3 feeling words. What are they? Write them down and put them somewhere where you see them. And if you've done your aesthetic work, they'll sit right side by side, all of the things that make up your own aesthetic. And then ask yourself, does my home feel like those words right now? And if the answer is not yet, I have good news for you, because next week I think you're going to want to hear what I have to say. All right, friend, I hope that you are enjoying your summer days before we really start being encroached by all the pumpkins that are going to be staring at us in the face pretty soon. Until next time, I'll see you soon.
Hey, real quick before you go, if you learned something new or found value in today's podcast, would you head over to iTunes to Fig and Farm at Home and leave a review and subscribe to the show? That would be awesome. And if you'd like to connect with my community of mamas who are learning to be intentional storytellers within their own homes, join us at bit.ly/design101 group. There's always more room at the table. See you soon.